I truly believe that this is one of the worst periods in Chelsea's history. I believe that this is worse than when we were Division Two team, mid-table fodder. I have never known of a lack of passion, a lack of enthusiasm, a lack of positivity surrounding Chelsea like I'm witnessing now. I think that this Graham Potter tenure has been the worst managerial tenure in my lifetime at least. And I am absolutely in shock that a manager can be in charge of Chelsea and show such a feeble attitude, such a toothless display of anything as a manager. And I just think that this has become beyond a joke. And I'm truly appalled that Graham Potter can continue to show no fight, show no passion, select a team that is incapable of creating chances, of scoring goals, that he has given players time off in the week as preparation for one of the biggest games of the season against Tottenham, our fierce rivals. Losing to Tottenham is a hard defeat to take, is a hard pill to swallow, period. Lack of preparation for that game, not giving it your all, not throwing the kitchen sink at this game is unforgivable. It's unforgivable. No matter what, you try your absolute best. You do everything in your power to beat those North London rivals. That is how we perform. That is the pride that we carry. It's unforgivable that Graham Potter has decided to give players time off. 2 wins from 16 games now. This is beyond bad. Anyone can see that this is getting worse. We are taking steps back and we are making no progress. There's no positivity. Don't want to hear about XG. Don't want to hear about passages of play where Graham Potter is implementing his ideas. No. Chelsea were not this bad under Thomas Tuchel. Chelsea were not this bad under Frank Lampard. Chelsea have never been this bad. I have not witnessed Chelsea this bad. Even Mourinho, when we were playing so badly and we finished 10th that season, this is still different because we've got a manager at the helm that really doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. He looks like he's out of his depth. And the thing that I feel is being overlooked a lot is the way that we've sacked Thomas Tuchel and appointed Graham Potter in the matter of a 3, 4, 5 day period, whatever. Graham Potter had no idea a week before taking over Chelsea he was going to be a Chelsea manager. And that to me is clear. I know he hasn't had time to work with the players and he's had to learn on the job. And I do feel for him in the sense that his job was doomed. But the only thing that could have made this work was Graham Potter showing his pedigree, showing his calibre. And he doesn't have it at this level. He clearly does not have it. And that is not an opinion. That is objective now. Graham Potter clearly has no idea what he's doing. He's playing Kai Havertz as a false 9. That's Thomas Tuchel's idea. That was something that we were criticising Thomas Tuchel for doing. But we had no options. We had no strikers. You've got Aubameyang on the bench. You've got Fofana, who we've just brought in. He doesn't even make the bench. We've got strikers now. You've got some options. And you're still starting with Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz is good off the bench at times. But starting him again when we can't seem to score a goal. João Felix has scored our only goal in February. What is going on? You're learning on the job and you're learning at a turtle's pace now. And it's unforgivable. And you have got us in this mess. I don't want to hear about everything, all the external factors now. At the end of the day, you've got a job. You've got a job to coach the players and bring the best out of them. And you have failed miserably. And you've failed when the profile and caliber of player is, there's no ceiling. These players are truly world class. If you can unlock that potential, and you're doing it far too slow. This is a results business, and you cannot be afforded years and years and years. Trust the process. Things are happening. Yeah, it's disappointing. It's just, honestly, it's disgusting. I've never seen a manager with such lack of fight and, lack of pride to represent Chelsea that I've seen with Graham Potter. Nothing is clicking. Nothing makes sense. I hear people talk about Mikel Arteta and how Arteta was afforded all this time. Arteta was, first of all, Pep Guardiola's right-hand man. Elite manager. Has witnessed winning. Didn't even celebrate when Man City were beating Arsenal and scored goals against Arsenal. He would stay there and not celebrate. That's passion. That's elite mentality. That is fire. Graham Potter has none of those attributes. Graham Potter is more akin to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure. Too nice. No ruthless streak. Like, can be given the time, but will never reach. I mean, I'll take any of those finishes that Ole managed under Man United at the moment. Now, that is a far cry from where we're at the moment. We are relegation fodder. 2 in 16. Can't score a goal. Can't buy a goal to save our lives. And it's getting a joke. Todd Bowley's at the game. How long can he continue to watch this? How long until he realises that he's made a grave mistake in hiring Graham Potter on 12 million a year for 5 years? An unproven manager with a weak CV, with a lot of potential, but an unproven manager nonetheless. It was a mistake, Todd. A big mistake. You've spent a lot of money, but this one was the worst money you spent. You should have continued with Tuchel. You should have steadied the ship. You've made too many disruptions. You've put everything under pressure, under a macro lens at the moment. All these players, all these signings, all these changes. This is going to get really bad now. And we need a fresh break. And I hate that we have to call for a manager to be sacked. There's nothing that I hate more. I want to have a manager who we support, who we go through the hard times with, that, you know, understands the process of the club, understands the club. Graham Potter is not a man of Chelsea. Like, you can see that. You can really, truly see that. And you've just made the mistake, Todd. I just don't understand how you can continue this. At the end of the day, you could give him to the end of the season. It doesn't really make a difference now, but we've lost all patience from performances. I don't mind losing. If we lose and the other team is genuinely better than us, then fair enough. But when you're better than the other team, Tottenham were poor. And they just cruised past us. Second gear. Great goal from Skip. Whatever. It's still just an average performance from Tottenham's standards. And an abysmal performance. Well, a routine performance from Chelsea at the moment. We're getting used to playing so poorly. And it's unacceptable. I just cannot continue to watch Chelsea slump further and further down the table, down in their performances. It's getting beyond a joke. It's impossible to talk about the performance yesterday because there are so many external factors as to why we played bad. You could talk about the starting lineup. You could talk about Thiago Silva going off. You could talk about everyone just looking a shadow of themselves. Reece James is looking like a shadow of himself, and that is something I've not witnessed. Mason Mount, all the things that are surrounding him at the moment. Ziyech, he doesn't have the temperament. He doesn't have the temperament to play at this level. He is a stroppy player. He's got some absolutely God-given talents. He's a fantastic player on his day. But he doesn't have that professional elite mentality, not to represent a club like Chelsea. It's just not there. Him getting sent off and then it getting rescinded, but just that whole saga is classic Hakim Ziyech. And he just doesn't have the temperament. Aubameyang coming on with 10 minutes to go. How can a footballer affect a game in 10 minutes? How can anyone? The constant rotation, the constant movement, you not knowing you're starting 11, you're not even just, okay, you might not know you're starting 11, but just pick one now and stick with it and make it make sense. Put a recognised striker in your starting 11 and let's go from there. You've got no excuses now, and it's just, I really don't know where we go from here. It has to be parting ways with Graham. You're going to have to pay that in the region of 50 million to separate ties with him, and I would rather a caretaker take over. Whoever the youth coach, I'd rather anyone take over. Get Potter out and his backroom staff and their laboured attitude to managing. It's just unbelievable. It's like they've literally not risen to the occasion at all. Sometimes there are moments you've got to rise. You've got to understand you're the manager of a big club. You've got to come out there, and it's just poor. And you want to make excuses and talk about how we're not good enough and how it's a difficult one to take, and you don't understand anything about what it means to be an elite manager. And I'm sure this is a part of your learning curve, and I think you obviously are a good manager, but this is just beyond you. This is beyond you. The whole circus that is around you is beyond you, and you're either going to put that to bed and come out through the other end shining, or it's going to take its toll on you as it has, and we're going to just see things get horrible. And I'm sorry, but Graham, you are the culprit here. You are the culprit. You haven't got the best out of this team. That is your job, and you failed. And I think you need to admit that. And you know, I wish that this wasn't the case. I really wish things were going well for you. I was rooting for you, but I think now it's sort of the nail in the coffin. Leeds next. We're gonna lose. We're gonna lose. And I'll be here making the same video about how bad Chelsea were, how poor the team selection was, how we don't create any chances, and overall how the lack of passion is so aggravating and so hard to watch being a Chelsea supporter. Guys, I don't know where we go. Well, I know where we go. We lose to Leeds next weekend. If you can like this video, that would be great. In the midst of all this agony, liking this video is definitely a huge support if you are here. If you're still here watching, subscribe to the channel. Also, massive support if you can do that. Leave a comment, voice your opinions, vent your anger, as I'm sure you're as frustrated as I am. And I'll see you in the next one, which we know is not going to be much different to this video. I'll see you then.